top 5 somehow, some way, even though they were contested. I talked about this drop spot having some players here, and it seems like it does. Zate's got a whole lot of company.
Yeah, but over near Salty, all I'm seeing right now is TNA team getting beelined on by XSET team, and we've seen it. It's 2-0 at this point. TNA's team has run into XSET twice, and they have full wiped them both times. Once early in the mid game, and once very far into the end game. So if they go toe-to-toe again, that's your 4th place and 1st place team. Things could get exciting. We have 3 of our top 5 teams all on top of each other right now. And you just talked about the leaderboard then, Monster, right? They held on to their 5th place. They're tied for 4th and only 4 points behind 3rd. So this top 5, as much as TNA is honestly running away with it, the rest of the leaderboard is so close. It is anyone's game.
Yeah, and that's the matter of thousands, right? You're talking thousands and thousands of dollars on the line here. And just the prestige of saying you finished in the top 5, the top 3, the 2nd place, whatever it may be that you're trying to come home with. There is still a lot riding on the line here. And that's why teams are contesting those major drop spots. That's why you have Cease, Blake, and company landing there. Because at the end of the day, you need those shockwaves, right? You want to play for first, even if you're in the back pages. You can.
The item shop is changing in 20 seconds.
Yeah, it's very, very tight when it gets lower right now. Saf Zate can still do that as well. And we talk about, like, the prestige. There's a sort of beef on the line. There has been a lot of teams talking smack. You have Zate, Saf, and Stretch calling out Booger's team for not performing with uncontested Stark throughout the weeks. They now have uncontested Dooms, and they're doing the worst they've ever done. So they really need to come back in the tail half here and impress, because you don't want to eat your own words if Booger's team beats out Zate's team.
Such a good item shop too.
Now we're gonna hop on over though. Booga, yes. Gives you guys a little bit of an update what the loadout's looking like. Not a lot of medium bullets, but everything else sort of coming together here. And this is why we, in that last big highlight clip that we saw Booga hit the snipe shot, this is why they never have sniper shots. It's just the ammunition's a bit scarce here for the heavy, for the medium bullets, but they managed to make do with it, even against all odds here. Avery's the one really hoarding onto it. It looks like he's got to do some sharing.
Oh, it looks like Avery has to do some sharing with the Vault, but doesn't realize the team is in there. Legend Dian comes out. We're talking about Team New Age all day here, but it's the new signing of Legend Dian that's going to really affect this leaderboard. That's your 5th place team. Only one of them's down. There is a reboot van here, but the zone is coming. I don't think they're going to be able to pull off a reboot here unless this team rotates quickly, and that's a big loot increase for them.
Such a huge come up. When we talked about Avery hoarding all the ammo, I mean, they just got away with 300 medium bullets. All the loot, of course, that they get to pick up on top of that, and then they skate away Storm Surge free. So just like that, the ambush is going to pay off. Yes, Booga will be able to get the card here, but I mean, the payment has already been due. It's already been dished out. They're gone with it. It's a free elim for them. Luckily for Avery and Booga here, or Jamper and Booga, they do not get held out, right? This could have been a lot worse than it already was.
Yeah, I was going to say, they do have one of these cars. They do have the medkits. They could go for the reboot, but maybe they're going to try and find it somewhere else.
Jamper's there. Jamper's there.
Oh, Jamper's gone for it. So Jamper's now gone for the reboot, but I'm surprised Booger's leaving now as well. So yeah, maybe they have the clean rotate back in. Jamper has fallen back. He gets the reboot. There we go. So the only problem is they've lost the loadout. Avery's gone from having really good firepower to kind of just getting the scraps now. He's just got to get the backup weapons, the leftovers, but it could be a lot worse. They're still up. They're still in this with a chance, and this team could very easily jump up. And like you said, thousands, there's tens of thousands when you think about how much these teams get combined on the line. So they really need to perform now.
I really do love how Jamper and Avery didn't even want to test the Vault. They were like, you know, just in case Booga didn't clear it, they didn't even bother going inside of it to pick up anything. Ooh. So that's how that's going to play out. Reverse 2K is going to find a massive knock here onto C9's Nosh. In the process, though, Macwood falls. Calculator falls there to Class 2. All of a sudden, some big knocks from notable trios left and rights. It seems like Reverse 2K and company trying to rotate up.
This is so important. This would have been by far this team's worst performance. Look at the loadout. We've never really seen them this shambles. They have a couple of minis, couple of bandages. They've got the crash pads, but no builds, no eliminations on the board. They're now only 123 above the Storm Surge. So this team is proving they can do it all. Now they can clutch up even when they're shambles. They can identify those fights, and let's see the confidence. Is a team finally going to stop this team? Is somebody finally going to be able to say, no, you aren't the best team in NA East? And no, never mind. Right now, they're proving why they're in the lead as Day just gets in on an entire team. When have you ever seen a team in a major region run through every other team with ease? We are now over 10 games in. and no one has been able to stop this team. No one has beaten them in a straight 3v3. This is insane.
Yeah, and it's not even close. It's not that they haven't been beaten. It hasn't even been close. I'm sure if we take the stats and we really crunch down to the length of time, how long these battles have lasted, they are not very long. And this is why Miro is leading with eliminations for the entire region. I think I'm not sure if it's internationally, but when we saw the stat flying, Miro has the most elims. That's all it said. So, like, he's the slayer of the squad. He's got 0 this time around. Days right behind him, but you know he's going to be able to follow up without a single problem. And that's how they're dropping teams right now.
And look at that. They've now got their eliminations. They've got their surge. They've got more loot. And it's just crazy. They're in the lead, but they've been playing like this all weekend. And this is when usually teams are like, cool, we're coming into this. We've got an almost 50-point lead. We've done it. Let's just have our victory lap. Let's sit back and cruise through. No, they're still in top gear right now. They are pushing through everyone, trying to get these eliminations, and nothing's going to stop them right now. I need to see at least one team try to meet their match, or we have our 100% undisputed champions of NA East, because they've done it in such dominant fashion. But there are people still knocking on the door who can come back with these big performances like Scented, Edgy, and Commandment as they set up to try and run through a team as well.
And just to jump on that, it's not just dominant fashion, it's also different drop spot. Like, they're doing something completely different, and they did it through the qualifying weeks. Dirty Docks first, taking up Fortilla, now a brand new drop spot by the castle. Just to give you an idea of how good Reverse 2K, Miro, and Day have been throughout this week, they have flex dropped consistently and successfully made it work every single week they played Fortnite. Here, though, another big team. Not necessarily as flex. They did have some opportunities to play Stark, but they're back at their home drop spot. They're doing very, very good. Still far off of first, but very consistent so far nonetheless.
This is a team that's dropped down a little bit here. Aspect, Zunies, and NPen came into today on 4th, really close to 3rd, and now they've dropped right back into 7th. So really got to pick up the pace because they've been playing such good Fortnite this whole weekend, and you don't want to let it slip now. Aspect has been in these situations before, an absolute veteran. So I don't think it's the pressure, just something isn't clicking, but I know they can make it work because they really want to jump up into that big, big prize money, and this loadout is the one to do it. They've got the good positioning, and this is probably one of the easiest zones we've seen today, right, Monster? It's pretty like we've been saying, vanilla. There's a bit of water, there's kind of some hills, there's no mountains, there's no like steamy stacks, no giant buildings. It's gonna play out and anyone can win this one.
Yeah, these are the ones that get the most exciting. The slight elevation, nothing too crazy. It's all bronze, all guts. Let's see how it's going to play out, though. Remember, this last game just shows you what happens when you fall behind from one single round. Zuni's Aspect to NPen, the Booga opener, the quick drop on the squad here really set them back. They fell all the way down to 7th place. But when I say that, I mean they're just 5 placements off of top 4, right? So it's that neck and neck here. A few eliminations here make the difference for the squad. But nonetheless, you cannot fall. If you're in the top 10, you're in the top 5, and you fall, you're going to fall a massive amount of slots, and it's going to be that much harder to close the gap. That's how much, that's how stiff the competition is from 2nd to 10th.
And look at that edge right now. Reverse 2K down there at a decent spot. But if you look at that mini-map, it is congested beyond congested. There's a few teams out here in the open, and we always talk about being, dead side versus congested side. In stack lobbies like this, though, I'm a little bit scared for teams like Dubs, Mega, and Riversun out here, because if they've got to make their rotate, or if they start getting lobby focused, they have nothing to hide behind. So they've got to be really, really careful of which edits they open up right now, because if any of them get knocked, or if they get cracked, the lobby focus will just unleash on them. But teams like Reverse right now have so many teams on top of their head. If they don't navigate properly, they're in a very risky position.
Here it is, though, looking out to put some pressure down. Dubs is not going to connect anything. Mega looking out the other side. He's got to be careful. All these fresh builds do bring a lot of attention, especially considering they are inside the safe zone. A lot of lines of sights on them. Riversun is going to have a team land right in front of him. He looks to open up the edit right now. He's actually controlling all these pieces as well. It's looking pretty good for them. They might be able to take this box fight. This team landed so close. They're poising up for it. Do have to be careful. I wonder if they have some crash pads to go in and extend this one out. It might just work.
And it's crazy to talk about a team as if they're like a struggling team that can maybe win this box fight, because it's Mega, Dubs, and Riversun, such decorated players. Riversun was doing better than any other team coming into these tournaments as a trio, but he split last minute with Furious and Illest, picked up Mega and Dubs, and just hasn't found their success. So they really need to do something this tail half. Otherwise, he's going to feel really, really bad about that decision right now.
Definitely. Now you can see the other attention coming from the rest of the lobby now. The half in, half out's going to pop. It's going all the way east here. It's looking like the perfect kind of flat zone some people could only dream for. And they have the opportunity. Cosmix is going to fall here to Dubs. The quick follow-up, and that is also onto the next player too. All of a sudden now they have granted themselves 2 eliminations, and they are able to claim the loot. Dubs jumps in, Riverson jumps in. They are able to grab all of this. That is great for the rotate up ahead.
And I saw Scented, Edgy, and Commandment get 2 eliminations in the feed too, so they're pushing their second place a little bit further beyond right now as Jamper taking down Unknown here. So we got some big teams really shaping up here. I think we have every single team in the top 5 still up right now and looking pretty healthy as no Day falls. This is big. This is something we have not seen. Our first place team losing a member in the mid game. I know that sounds crazy, 9 games into a grand final, but this literally has not happened until now. We have to see whether they can bounce back from this.
Yeah, and if it did happen, they got the revive off. So that's the difference between then and now. So big knock's going to hop in here to Fop. Fop's down. That's the second time now we watch him eat a massive shot on broadcast, unfortunately. But Mega with the beautiful follow. He's probably not going to get the conclusion, but still a very high-class shot here from the high ground spot. And now they are able to dominantly hold it. They do have to be careful, though. The more likely they are to hold this one passively like this with ramps, the more likely they are to get landed on and have height snatched up from them. So they do have to be careful. You saw right there, Zate poising up. Like, this is the guy to do it, too. Looking outwards. He doesn't have a cone over his head like everyone else would have in a situation. It's because they love to jump out. They love to surprise the high ground teams. As we hop over to the other side, 8 elims here for Kaz and Polarized. Not too bad as a 2-man squad.
And that was really just 2 sides of the battlefield, right? Both up on high ground, just looking at each other. Neither one of them building up, but I think at this point right now, it looks like Riverside, Dubs, and Mega actually got zone advantage. But like you said, Zate likes to jump. You know they're going to pounce on that if they can. If they have the mobility, they're going to go for that either way. As 8 eliminations for this team, they're going to try and make it 9, and that they do. They take out Suesuo, but getting eliminations now is a little bit sketchy because they've got to start working on their rotate. And there it is. The Peppermints come out, and Zate goes down to Tabs. So Zate's firepower on the high ground is looking a lot worse for wear, which is even better for Riverside, Dubs, and Mega if they were able to do something with it up there.
100%. And guys, this is the halfway mark right here. Game number 4 of the day 2. After this, the qualifier run for grand finals is over. What can you do? As Polarized gets N-Pen here, that means Aspect and Zuni's have to clutch up. Can they get the save? Polarized looking to scramble right now. Shots coming from all over, and he does. He stays alive for a little longer. He gets the thirst. That's onto N-Pen. All that for a point. That makes it 10 elims for them in a massive, massive follow-up. What a shot right there.
Polarized mechanics then to flip the stair to hold the builds. It looked all crazy, but that was so well done to survive that one. As here we go.
Miro's down.
Taking down Miro. There it is. Like you said, Monster, they got him back up. They're just that good. They revived him, but no, there is no revive now. There is no reboot. Miro is down, and Reverse 2K and Day have to do it alone, and Day goes down too, and Reverse 2K, they go down to the Xdead trio. That is our first place team. This is the first time in almost 10 games that they have been in this situation. They have to sit back and watch and see if their lead holds out, because right now Commandment's team's still in this, AV's team's still in this. I see Slacks as well, so right now they're coming for first place.
Shark is down, AV is down, Knight is now down. That's going to conclude the XSET team. So who else is going to be able to make a run up to the top? Will it be Booga? Will it be Avery? Will it be Jamper? That's another huge follow-up there, and another shotgun shot through the wall. All of a sudden, they are the kings of the low. They are trying to take one from the page of the low ground book. And I mean, they're playing it off well. They have 5 elims already, and they're set up for success.
They're playing it really well, and honestly, we've seen this team go for high ground and usually lose it, but right now, Mega, Dubs, and Riverside are on the high ground. Who is going to challenge it? Because quite often, we're seeing the story of the first team that goes up, doesn't win it, and it's the last team that goes up. Who can hold out and take the high ground at the last minute? If you've got those shockwaves, you've just got to hold that mid and low ground, but it's easier said than done. You have the best of the best in this lobby. They're knocking on your doors, they're knocking on your walls, and if you're not in a safe position, you see things happen like Edgy and Scented going down. That is your second place team. They needed this game so badly. They saw TNA go down in the feed, and this was their chance, and they might be blundering it. I think they're all out of this one.
Yeah, Commandment's down as well. That's going to conclude the second place team. It seems like First will be able to hold it out. This is giving opportunity to the others, though. What are Riverson here, Dubs and Mega going to do with this? They have 5 eliminations and the high ground. I mean, they're basically skating on thin ice here. They do not have a lot of builds, and the zone still has a bit of a stretch. A minute and a half is quite a ways away, so they're going to have to come down and get dirty into this build fight here. They have enough to do it as well. They're scavenging around the outskirts. This is why Riverson's looking around trying to find what he can here. How's it going to all play,
Booger
though?
just got an entire trio wipe. Booger just took down 3 entire players before he falls to post, so they're dropping big eliminations down there as Jamper goes down as well. This is great for Riversan's team. They get a bit of a refresh. He's coming back up with the materials, but looks like Booger's team has been wounded down there because that's what they needed to try and close this out. Avery goes up. He's the last one. Avery falls. It's Furious, Blake. They're going toe-to-toe with Stretch right now, so it's going to be a 3v2. Furious on the low ground with Blake. This team has been struggling. They started dropping over at Stark. They found no success. Wherever they went this game, this is the furthest we've seen them, but they don't have the end game experience here today, Monster. They have to stay composed in a position they haven't been in yet.
Yeah, they haven't played any end games today, so it is going to be a matter of how quickly they can react to these shots. It's going to be the quick low ground peaks that take home the victory right now. A 6 elimination hold right now from Riverson, Dubs, and Mega. Not too bad for them right now. 47 points today is pretty impressive, but the team on low has to come up. Wait a second, Riverson's down.
Blake.
It's not looking good. Oh, no, the big shot, though. Well played for Mega.
Well played from Mega indeed. The big shot, he backed up. He had the health advantage, did not have any extra heals, but that was enough for having to come back. But this leaderboard, Monster, we finally saw it. We saw TNA fall. They can be taken out, but unfortunately, I don't think Commandment, Sense, and Edgy took their opportunity to really jump up, so it's still going to be so close at the top. That was all the top 5 teams in it, but I don't know where they went.
And I mean, you think about what that means for Riverson, Dubs, and Mega. That's a 32-point jump, I believe, with the 8 points in the 25 Victory Royale. Not too bad for them. They were just outside of top 10. That puts them up towards top 5. When we said the top 10 was close, we meant it there, Ozzy.
There is so much money on the line, so even if first place is running away with it, we'll have to see who can jump up and get that big money. Analysts, please let us know, because this leaderboard is crazy.
The only thing that mirrors the craziness of this leaderboard are the casters' skills. I mean, just freaking put some respect on these guys. They're bringing the hype. They're bringing the action, calling it left and right. Props, guys. Now, let's take a look at these leaderboards, because as these guys just talked about, this is very close. Second and third is going back and forth. However, Day, Miro, Reverse, 2K, they still have a dominant lead. 40 points. Now, listen. A 15-point Victory Royale can squash that lead, but that is a very tall order with only 2 games left to go.
Yeah, I mean, if NA East was like an album, right? This would be the B-side. This would be day 2. That last game would be an interlude, but it's still the same popular track all the way up top with Day, Miro, Reverse, 2K that everyone keeps playing. 186 points every game. They're still there. They're still singing high and mighty. It's just, there's just only a few other shows that can really catch up, and Reese, he'll have to do a lot to get there.
They will, but they've played 10 games so far, and, you know, they've started to kind of, TNA streams started to go down a little bit at the end. Have they had their greatest hits album already? They've got 2 more games left, and is anyone in second and third, such as Commandment, Send and Edgy, Jamper, Booga, Avery, able to actually catch up to that?
That's true, and then the reason I called that last game kind of like an interlude is because everyone wants to focus on the popular tracks, the top 5. It was more about the 6th to 15th place, the going for top 10, like Aussie called it. That was the focus and the results after that last game. We can see a little bit of a switch up here. Xset now in 6th, Zayt holding on to 8th. We'll see Zextro, Calc, and Macwood also sneaking into that top 10. Creo, Bucky, Kanata are surviving on this page, but they definitely want to be on that top 5.
It's pretty unusual to see a team with 2 Victory Royales down in 9th, but that's because it's so close in between 2nd all the way down to 10th, you know? Anyone can take it, and one big game could really move you up the leaderboards.
Yep, and the melody from that last game was Mega, Riverson, and Dubs all the way in 11th. They get that VR. They pull themselves up from the trenches towards those top charts, towards that top 10. We're not looking at quals anymore. It's more about cementing your legacy. And yes, we are going to be focusing in a little bit on Reverse, Miro, and Day, but These guys are also looking for their top 10, looking for better placements, as is P-God Elige and Jelty, as are Skittles and Ronaldo, shooting for height every game. Clix, Illis, and Bizzle also coming so close to 2 different wins, one yesterday, one today. We'll see if they can get theirs. For everyone here, there are still stakes on the line.
Being able to find yourself up on that leaderboard, especially after the 2 games, right? For FaZe, Mega, Dubs, these guys jumped up to 11th, right? This is going to impact their earnings. This means they get to walk away with more money. They may not be walking away FNCS champions, but overall being able to say, hey, look, we made top 10 in FNCS, that's still real good. Now, gentlemen, turning our attention back to that first place team, these guys just feel like a raid boss. It just feels like whatever everyone else is trying to do, like, it's just like, no, you know? Like, this is the first day raid boss hits, and everyone's like, how do we stop this? How do we, you know, like...
It's actual critical damage they're throwing down on the rest of the server. And the thing is, usually a raid boss has a weakness. No one has identified one. No player, no team, no trio has found a way to stop the TNA, the new age trio, up top in first place.
Will they? I'm not sure if they are actually going to be able to, but let's take a look at some of their highlights and some of the reasons why they are so good.
Absolutely. These guys are always playing the edge side of a zone. They always keep one side purple or blue, depending on what colorblind settings you are playing on. Either way, the zone is there and it helps them. Even if one person like Day ends up going down, Reverse and Miro have such a good position, they get to survive and push through the whole way in the game. Their secret is literally just trying to play their position at all times. They don't worry about the next zone unless it's a mountain. We do have some players, some trios for this raid boss. Who would they be, Reese?
Yeah, so was in 3rd place, now in 4th is Commandment, Scented, and Edgy. You know, these guys are not playing a single player game. These guys are in co-op mode by far. And all the other games you've played today very, very consistently. Same with Day 1. They've been hitting those critical hits. They've been buffed. Unfortunately, that last game going down in the in-game and not grabbing too many points, however.
Yeah, their secret sauce, their kind of superpowers, always going towards the end game and performing there. Sometimes they don't make it, which is why they can't climb towards that boss status that Reverse, Miro, and Day have. Another trio, another player number 2 here is Slacks, Acorn, and Jack. This trio is so good once they're actually solidified and all 3 are alive playing these games out. It just feels like when one gets down, they don't have that complete package to round out games. Not very similar to how, you know, Reverse, Miro, and Day kind of do their stuff. Now here's player 3, a wild card coming in, kind of shaking up the top 10. Mega, Dubs, Riverson off of that last win. It was crisp. Another trio too that just landed in based off performances in that last game was Jamper, Booga, and Avery. Now in 3rd, they have a shot to take down the beast, the boss that are the new age trio, Reverse, Miro, and Day. But can they is the question.
There's only 2 games left, man. There has to be something that's done, whether it's a contested drop like we saw back in EU, or the lobby needs to decide this raid boss has to come down. It's too strong. We'll have to see. But gentlemen, Fortnite fam, it's time. We're going right back in a game. The action is heating up, so let's kick it back over to our casters. Take it away.
This puts us one step closer to the final marathon stretch here. It's the 5th game of day number 2. Ozzy, it's been a tough 2 days for these competition. I mean, we're seeing it all play out here, and it seems like the TNA boys are contested.
Yeah, I was about to say, I want to get the hype going. I want to get excited, but I'm sorry. I just love Fortnite too much. I couldn't even contain that there. I'm sorry, Monster, to interrupt. What is happening right now? We have our first place team that has been what looked like an almost insurmountable lead. With 2 games to go, something has to happen. And right now, we've had it. Someone's pushing into their loot path right now. And this is not going to end well, I have to imagine. They can maybe pull it back. This team has been so good at fighting, but this is the huge shift up that this game needed for everybody else, because this team has been untouchable.
Yeah, and you think about it, right? Daymir and Reverse 2K have had this entire drop spot to themselves, but Knifer, Tabs, and Joji definitely play that upper portion of the castle, the side of the islands. This time around, it seems like nothing was too big for them to overcome, though. They were just far enough, just outside of the reach, and they were untouched this time. They are going to be able to claim up the heals here, as they're not too sure. Actually, wait a second. Bizzle and Clix are stepping up a little bit sooner this time, and Day has to get the slurp truck by himself. Digging into the heels already. Reverse 2K already got it, and he sees Illis. Illis on the flank, so this is not a successful ambush.
This is incredibly scary. This isn't just a team that's shambles going up against another team that's a little bit shambles. This is our Sweaty Sands team, and they're opening up with a snipe. If that was from Clix, I have to say he's one of the best snipers on NA East right now. He's hitting so many shots, and this is incredibly scary. If you're cheering for our first place team, they have been so far and ahead. They're getting an average place down here. Reverse falls. Day falls. Miro's the only one left. Miro has our elimination record in NA East, but this is going to be a task that surely is even too great for him. It's a 3v1. What can he do with the blue pump? Hits the big shots, but no, they fall
Not
down.
enough.
Monster. That is our first place team. They are so far ahead, but not so far ahead where they can't be nervous now. They have to be sweating.
And it makes sense for Illis, Clix, and Bizzle here to push. You saw the loadout, the maxed out shotguns on the drop spot. You have to do something with it. Why not push the team in the lead just over the hill? Not quite ready. The ambush tactics, it's gonna play off this time. Now, the real question is, can Jamper, Bugha, and Avery take advantage of this? Will Commandment, Sensei, and Edgy take advantage, right? It's the other teams that have to use this opportunity now.
They have to use this opportunity. You can see this team more than any other use the opportunity when they're contested, though. Bugha has secured the first elim of the game more than any NA East players FNCS. That stat is so crazy. It's got me jumbling. And they're not even contested that often. So that is a ridiculous statistic. That means when they are contested, Bugha is really the one that's capitalizing and winning those big fights because they matter the most. When you're able to get that first elimination when you're contested, that's where things crumble and break apart.
Here it is, Bugha with the big backpack for the squad in the early rounds, making it happen here for the drop spot. This key to success here. Avery Doe's going to slide over to the Vault this time, nice and early, not to be greeted by any surprises. He's going to make sure he gets his loot, learning from the last round that this all unfolded. He's down to 70 HP. He's going to have to heal up here, but the Vault seems pretty nice. Looking very, very nice for the trio.
Very, very nice. And this is what we got to start setting up. Who can spoil this? Who can jump up? And this is probably one of the biggest contenders right now. They're going in on third place. They're about 43 points behind first. But when you think the first place is out of this team has been able to drop big elimination wins. A 10 elimination win would bring this margin down so incredibly close. And they have the loot to do it. We've seen what this drop can do over on EU. When Mongrel's team had it to themselves, they were running away with the leaderboard. And that's what Bugha has to do. There's been so many questions around this team this season, Monster. So many people doubting them because they were getting, thirds and fourths, but people said it's not good enough. You have Stark, you need to be winning. And if people are still asking those questions, now's when they put him to rest.
100% here. Avery looking to get his loot together. Jamper, of course, trying to find his route too. Picking up the white heals, not too bad. He does have some space in the inventory. The splash is going to come out. This is going to put them right in contention for having that high health pool. And of course, now it's going to be time to move on out. Remember, the last time they stuck around here for too long, you had a lot of teams come in. That first game had 4 squads rotate in. Of course, the drop spot contest, and then Zayt and company flying in nice and late. So you can't stick around Stark Industries for too long. It does tend to backfire pretty consistently.
A lot of people want that loot, and a lot of people want the mobility right now. Shots are coming out. Was there another team still? There was a team hiding here, and no, this is so risky right now for your third place team. Jamper doesn't have any of the shockwaves, none of the mobility. He's trying to get away, but this team were they hiding inside the hangar, Monster? They have to have been.
Yeah, definitely playing a little funny here. They were hidden out on the side. For a second, I thought it was the Stark bots. I'm like, there's no way, right? They're hitting all those shots. It's the same team that had the ambush before. This time, it's a little different, coming in with a new approach. I like the strategy, though. I like the way that they play for their surge tags. It's working out consistently.
It's changing up fast. Can we just talk about how different this game already is, Moss? That's our third place team being ambushed. That's our first place team being contested for the first time.
Twice.
NA East is not happy leaving this. They want to finish this strong. Every team is trying to make something happen. You talked about a marathon. It's a 12-game format, but this has been a month in the making. This has been building this entire season. Trio FNCS, the first one we've had in so long. People want that crown, or they want a piece of the prize pool because there is so much money on the line.
Yeah, twice, right? The last game, Avery got met inside of the hangar. This game, once again, in the vehicle. Like, a little unlucky that he's the one on the outskirts. He's the one distancing himself from the pack, but that's what happens. You get too far. If a team's planning something sneaky, it's going to be onto the guy that's by himself, and that's why Avery gets punished twice. I'm not sure if he gets finished, though. I think he was not. I do wonder if they're going to be able to clean it up. Be paying attention to the feed, though, to figure it out. 4 teams have already been dropped here. Remember, this is game number 5. After this, there is only one more opportunity to pick up some points.
Getting close, and we talked about it. We talked about how good these teams are at the very top level, and it's crazy that when everyone's mechanics, their aim, their edit, their building is on that top tier level, that it comes down to the real Battle Royale-esque strategies of hiding, right? Taking those little peeks and ambushing people. That's what makes the difference right now, because you can't just beat out the best players in the world with just pure mechanics. You've got to be a little bit smarter, and you've got to change things up. Which teams can adapt? Because TNA needs to adapt now. Their whole game plan has changed, but they've been more adaptive than any other team with their drop spots and how they play, as Xset has dropped off the pace massively. They've gone down now into 6th. They were first place finishing up yesterday in game 5, and now they've dropped all the way down into 6th. So they need to come back. 17 points. They've had a very rough day.
Yeah, a couple bad rounds have really set them back. And then, of course, no major finishes the way they had yesterday. So it's the reason why. Xset, right, though, looking for the snipe up, is almost going to tuck one inside, but no, it's going to be a dead miss there. And remember, first place is out of the game, guys. Daymare, Reverse 2K are out. This is where all these other teams finally now have the opportunity to give us a finale, give us a great last game. It is on the backs of everyone else right now to stay up and get closer to that first place. And then the real competition begins. The battle for the FNCS Axe of Champions.
The Axe of Champions, and man, it's so incredibly clean. We saw last night over an OC, I was watching Jinx, he was streaming the grand finals, he was rocking the Axe of Champions. It could have been gone, but he won again, and man, it is so prestigious. It just heralds everyone in the lobby that you are one of the best, and in one of the best regions as well. Trios has been so exciting, but it's all closing out here, and you need to do it. 2 games left. It's a 12-game format, and this leaderboard is still so close. With TNA down, this is anyone's tournament still.
100%. 4th place team is the one we're queued in with right now. Acorn, Jack, and Slacks. Acorn has more full team eliminations than any other NA East player this FNCS. This is the guy you want on the front lines. This is the guy who's done it. He's the clutch.
He's the big clutch, and wiping an entire trio in FNCS, the best of the best in your region, taking down all 3 by yourself. That is a ridiculous statistic, and maybe we're going to see that now here as they try to push forward right now. We've got the full Chaos Agent squad trying to make their way in if they can. Players backed up against the wall, and you have to be scared of any team that's around them right now, and it is Xset's team as well, but it's Postic, Graska, and Xset who have no shield that are pinned between 2 of the scariest teams so far this FNCS.
Gotta be careful, though. The last time Graska and company got dived on, they did a very good job defending, bodying Clix, Bizzle, and Commandment just before, or Illis there. Here, though, with Zuni's N-Pen and Aspect, they're putting some shots down a team in the distance. That's the problem with using those rifts. You do have to be careful. You open yourself up to being free Storm Surge tags, as this team's only 11 above, so it's time to get active. Remember, they drop at the ruins. Their strategy is heavily dependent on finding tags while they're at the topmost portions of these mountains. Being that they didn't get too many, though, they're in a weird situation now. They have a lot of distance between them and other teams. They might have to go in for a close-range battle.
And I've seen AV's team just go down now. AV gets finished on by Riversun, Dubs, and Mega. I don't see Knight and Shark, but again, that's your kind of around that top 5 leaderboard. Really shaping out. And this team's kind of just clinging on. They're just holding on. They haven't had the big performances they had yesterday, Monster. They're kind of, resting on their laurels from yesterday as teams like Booger, Jemper, and Avery jump up, and they're 17 below. So they can't rest on their laurels. They've got to move forward, be aggressive, make something happen. Now's the time. But look how many teams are around there. Who are you going to pick to try and make something happen on? Sneaks inside the top. This is really good. This is amazing. He's just crouching through here. Look at them. You can see them all on the minimap. This whole team is crouching in, ready to play spoiler, hiding behind pop plants, hiding behind walls, just seeing what they can do here. But unfortunately, this team leaves no open walls. But the crash pads always open up the walls. And no Zypher and Keys team. Bit of lobby manipulation. They've got them so focused right now as all those players are looking at this team. And that's a great way to get your tag safely.
100%. You do have to be careful. Imagine someone takes a dive there. If the floor is broke or something, if it lands on something weird, anything can happen when the crash pads interact with the builds. Very good plays there on the bridge. Ultimately, though, nothing's going to come of it. Mega, Dubs, and Riverson already takes out Xset, right? We saw one of those members fall. And this is the congestion. This is the clutter of builds. And now they inch their way to the loot. They secure another big pot for them to take with them. Mega getting a little thirsty here, though. Sticking around, really trying to look. He's got to be careful.
And this zone right now is really playing into Commandment Center and Edgy's favor. The only times we've seen them really struggle is when they get those far north zones. This one's a good one. It's a southeast kind of middle of the map area, and them coming out of Misty, they're looking great right now. So they've got everything they need to make this game count because eyes are on them. But we also have Booger Jamper and Avery that have to come from the far north, and eyes are on them too. Both those teams need to have the games of their lives because if they go into this last game, it's a mental battle, right, Monster? If you're going into your last game and you've got the win in sight, you feel so much more motivated. They need the big performance now. You don't want to leave it to the last game.
100%. And I mean, they're set up with a great shockwave play to find themselves some new territory here in the zone right on the backside of this Sentinel here. These Sentinels are indestructible as well, so fairly protected backside. All they have to do is worry now about the front portion. This is a great spot to hang out in. It's a huge mountain in front of them, so no need to worry too much there, as if anyone crosses through the valley, they're going to get punished. Now here, Bucky, Creo, Kanata, another team that has to make a move. They're just outside the Stormline edge, 48 damage above. Stretch finds Joji in the feed, so Zate's crew still getting active even in the storm fight right now.
And they've had two really big games today, especially that 13 elimination win. They've proven they can do it. If they get another win like that, that jumps them all of a sudden from just inside top, easily inside top 3 if they really have that big performance. So this team needs to show up, and they've been doing it from a drop that hasn't been super strong on really any other region, just showing how good they are out of Slurpy Swamps. And this is a good zone for them. They've got no one really around them on their edge. They're getting their tags because they're only 69 damage above, so they've got to get some shots out. If they get this tag in the mid game, they're looking really good on their next rotate as well.
100%, and they're really desperately looking action right now while they have this backside, no focus on top of them either. This is the most comfortable spot to be in. Wood Walls is the targeted choice. You can see a 3-2-1 with the AR shot to AR fire to walls. The one singles type of Wood Walls, they will take you out. Those shots go through, and they go through quick. As you can see, AJ does not have a lot. He's trying to fire back, trying to give up a little bit of defense, show some stance here, but it's not being respected. He's way too far off the new safe line, and they know it.
They've always started making their rotates. No one really using the Sentinel hands here because they're great when you're playing less stacked games, arena, public matches, but in these games, they leave you in the sky a little bit too long, so everyone opting to use their mobility items. There's Booger Jamper and Avery looking really healthy, looking to try and play the upset here today. They need one massive game, as Gabe Tahi and Sprite, they had some big games. They dropped some serious eliminations earlier today. We have Ronaldo, Skittles, and Zum. They've always just been there, right, Monster? We've seen so much of them today, but they just haven't had those last few minutes they need to hold on to for the big placements to jump up on the leaderboard.
Definitely, there's no opportunities to be missed here, though, as the rotates are coming on in now. Scented trying to play for this good spot here. Commandment and Edgy already situated. Super comfortable. Team comes up. Great shot from Scented. Is he going to be able to collapse in on it? He's thinking about it, but might not be worth it. Too soon. Too packed.
Very packed right now, and they have such a good control right now. I saw them really split though, so Edgy, Scented, and Commandment are feeling comfortable. They were quite split up there, but they had a big body of area, so I don't want to see them make those little mistakes, but it's also great to see them not getting super nervous. They're not just like sitting in the boxes. They're trying to move around and really make things happen, because this is a team that isn't going to settle for second. They're not aiming for second right now. They don't want to hold on to third. They want to get up into first. They want to make big moves, and there is no way they haven't seen the TNA's team went down early in the feed. They know. So they know this is their shot. When it's endgame and everything's going crazy, they might miss it. But in that early game, they've now had this whole mid-game to think, this is their moment. This is our chance. They can see the cup in front of them, but they're going to have to do a big game to make it happen.
That was Bucky, Creo, and Kanata's team that snuck up right behind them there when Sensei put their shots down. That would have been a crazy clash of top 10s against one another. Here, though, with Dubs, Mega, and Riverson still living off that knock that they had onto the Exit trio. Very much holding them up right now to the Storm Surge, as it is going to start ticking over soon. Once we get that next zone to reveal itself, here it is. 500 damage above, all because of the tags, all because of the knock they picked up before. Here is a team being pressured on the side, though. They're looking to find this opportunity. The target marker's out. This might be it.
They've really been impacting that lobby as well. Over 500 above just on one elimination, just showing how well they're playing, the little advantages they get. And right now, this lobby is really focused up on this giant mountain here, on this big edge.
Nice
and the
snipe.
262 shot. That's onto Illest right now, and that is a big, big blow to Clix' team right now, who started to have a bit of a run back. We saw them take out our first place team earlier in this game. They had the big wipe on number 1, but now they're going to have to drop back into those builds. We can see through the wall, they're holding it, and they're going to get the revive off, but that's a lot of meds lost, and another big jump in Storm Surge for Dubs' team.
They're lucky they get to stay alive. They're just outside that top 12, so this is a fight for top 10 for Clix, Illest, and Bizzle. If they stay up, they do get their way up the standings. They need to stay up right now if they want to have, you know, even a remotely top placing spot inside this competition. That's what's on the line for them, as Xset Knight actually finds the Elim there onto Eclipse. Remember, they are down a member. That member went down late into the game as well from Riverson, so there's no way their teammates back in full action. They're operating as a two-man team.
As Riversun now takes down Commandment, gets elimination. So does Edgy. So Edgy and Commandment right now taking on Creo's team toe-to-toe. So they get the knock and the finish. So they're jumping up there as well. And every elimination is going to matter to bring this team closer. That's who you're looking for in the feed. You're looking for Scented, Commandment, Edgy, Jampa, Booger, and Avery. Those are our two teams that can really jump up here and try to take this on. And right now, Meg on the backside, though, gets dropped in on. He's split up right now. Needs to go over an upper layer to get back to his team. But just like that, Riversun and Dubs turn around so quick and help out their teammate, and that was a nice little rotate back to front side on half.
Yeah, he does a great job to stay in the game right now. And now they're in that lower elevation here, playing off the side of the mountain cliff. They should have a lot of opportunity to stay up for a while as they find Bucky on the rotate on in. Down goes Bucky as well, and fully thirsted. Nothing to worry about but a nice loot delivery for the team here. That's massive. Bucky, Creo, Kanata were just climbing up just outside the top 10, or just within it, actually now being taken out. That is so bad for them, as Knight's still alive and Shark's still alive on the front side of zone as well. They're looking to do something big. They're in a key position right now to actually survive for quite some time.
And one thing I'm seeing set up right now, which is going to change the storyline a lot, we have Clix's team on high ground. And when they take high ground, it's really scary for any other team to take it, because Clix always goes ultimate high and really defends against those shockwaves. They do it so well, which gives up a little bit of that elimination power. They don't get as many eliminations as the other team on high ground. But now I'm looking at teams like Booger, who might then go for height, who are going to run into a lot of issues. So they're going to have to try and play this as a late high ground retake. They obviously don't have this information we do. They're going to have to hopefully just maybe take a look at high ground and understand that, because if they go for it against that team, it's going to be very scary for them.
And Commandment finds another knock in the feed. Knight's going to find Tragics as well. Remember, Knight was on the front side of that zone line. Now it's going to pull the opposite way, so a nice little rotate from them is going to have to come out of it. How is it everyone's going to have to cross here? Look at the congestion. This is a very weird spot. Such a diverse spot compared to the way the last zone played out. Zuni's going to get fallen down there. The bounces are going to come out. And the elevation's so different, but the crash pad fine. Nice job for them. A free rotate granted literally right there. And Zuni's lands onto Divine with the drop kick. My gosh, way to find an Elim.
Oh, and Avery and Jampa take down Saf in the feed too, so they're making moves right now, and every single one of those eliminations matters. Our second, third, and fourth place team, they're here. They're ready to show up, and they want a big game, as Zuni's also just outside that top 5, trying to have a big jump up. So right now, TNA is nervous. They are sweating. They're watching all these teams have big games, and they have to watch from the sideline. This is going to come right down to the final game. Which of those teams is going to be able to jump up and show why they can push for first place here today?
Ooh, look at high ground, though. It's Zextro, Calculator, Backwood. That's a team that we haven't seen up there very often, and they're contesting Bizzle as Scented, finding some eliminations. Remember, if Scented, Edgy, and Commandment, the more Elims they find, the closer to first place they get. The more that Reverse 2K, Miro, and Day have to sweat it out for the last game leading in. This is game number 5. Everyone still has an opportunity to overtake this game, overtake this entire series for what it's worth. On the front side, though, Stretch on the move here. 81 points today for this team. How good are they playing right now? Not even a victory royale, but still consistent here today.
They're coming back. I see Avery in the feed. I see Edgy. This is coming right down to the wire. I saw Booger's team setting up on that second height, so they might try and play spoiler here as Stretch is down on the low. We don't see this team on the low ground too much, but they're pulling it off more today. It's a bit safer, more consistent as Zayt is looking really weak, but right there, Stretch drops in. Shark takes him down right there. A big swing for them, and as our last FNCS champions, Zextra, Calc, and Macwood on the high ground, but there it is. Riversun goes up right now. We have our teams on the low ground that are looking so good. Calc trying to make something from this, has one build left, needs to drop down and do something for his team, and needs to find that refresh as Clicks gets elimination in the feed, and all the big names are still in this.
Yeah, you see Scented and Crew inside the mid-game. Commandment still alive right now. They're in the ultimate low, though. They've decided to go into the water. As Stretch is contesting, Calc, who's trying to get up to height. Calc is scrambling. He chokes a couple builds, and now Calc is out of material. This is so close, but Stretch, let's go, Stretch. Still fighting at the Siphon as well, and picks up the material just to stay alive. He is pulling it off. He is pulling off the clutch of the team right now. 4 eliminations, the only man alive, operating as a solo individual as Calc has to defend the height.
Stretch is doing so well right now. I see Edgy Scented and Commandment down there going toe-to-toe as well, trying to push up their lead. Calc goes up for this one right now. Nice. Has a big shot, falls down with the 150, the 100, takes down Iceve. The big shot right now. Who can jump away with this one right now? Who can come up? He's got the shockwaves, still has one left, dropping them both on the lobby. Desperation right now to hold this high ground. He has 24 builds left. Their team right now has 9 eliminations. Stretch is in this, so is Commandment. Your second place team is going for the heal off. Commandment's back there. This is so many solos. He could pull this off. This would be monumental for his team if he managed to do something here. Every player that goes down is more placement points, closer to first place, and I think he's done it. Commandment takes down Stretch. This is Commandment. This is your second place team in a 1v1 situation. He has to beat out Calc here. His team needs this. The whole leaderboard will shake up on this very moment. This is a huge swing, and no, Commandment falls to Calc. That could be the tournament right there with only one game to go.
A big 11 eliminations there for Calculator, and Calculator had one of the craziest clutches for that high ground, finding 2 and 3 eliminations in quick succession. Analysts, you guys are going to have to break this one down for us, because Calculator has shown why he was once a champion at the top of the top when it comes down to this FNCS stage.
We got a game on our hands, boys! Going into the final game, the standings can help present the information as clear as day. But guess what? The second place team has now closed the gap. They're only 12 points behind going into the final game on the day. Shy Wager, Reese, this could literally go either way right now. This is actually going to be the craziest and closest game we've seen yet.
Yeah, EU had a little bit more of a gap, but now for Game 6 of NA East on day number 2, it literally all comes down to one game's performance. This 5th game, though, let's see what the results actually are. Look at how much closer it is between the TNA trio up top and Commandment, Scented, and Edgy in second place, 186 to 174 points.
12-point difference in our first and second teams. In EU, we had this very, very similar, where there was a huge disparity between first and second, and as this day 2 progressed, they get closer and closer, and this is the exact same thing we're seeing again. It's all going down to the last game of who's going to take that first place slot.
And that's just to talk about first place. Let's look at the tie in 4th and 5th. It's all about every single position, not just first for a lot of these trios that aren't quite close enough to grab it. Zex and Slack so close to each other at the same time. We'll move on to the next 6th all the way to 10th place slots to look at how close it is over here too. A 140-point tie. X at 3 points behind. 128 to 122 for Niddle Mikey Clarity and Bucky Creo Kanata. This next game, we keep saying it, no matter what region it is, no matter what leaderboard we're looking at, every shot will matter.
And every placement after top 10 is more and more prize money.
Hey, bud.
And obviously, more and more respect. Bragging rights. If we have better placement now, we're 3rd, we're 2nd, we're 5th, whatever it is, it's improving over and over as these performances go out. We got one more game to decide that.
Dude, they could do it. We've watched the TNA trio fall so early. Commandment, Edgy, and Scented, they actually have a shot here. We have to be watching how this next game unfolds. But with this, set this up for us, boys. We have one game left. How close is this really?
let's get a retaste of that last game and really look at what the different flavors were in the end game. How do things look with people's play styles? Who's taking on Reverse? How close is it between certain teams? Those are the questions we need to answer after looking at that last game.
Yeah, I think, you know, to start things off, things may be the flavor of a little bit sour, I would say, perhaps, you know? Some of the other things may be a little bit sweet, but actually, no, we're going to start off with sweet, and that was a sweet pop-off by the one we love to call Stremen, aka Stretch, right here. Popping off hugely, playing this endgame really well. So, a little bit earlier in this game, he was playing low ground very, very efficiently, not what these guys are known for at all.
It was absolutely demon time, going all the way back in the zone, coming back to finding the perfect angles, using audio and his own edits to know exactly who was where, were they weak, taking those shots down even when he had less health at the very end. It wasn't enough though. Command was another player who elevated, got closer towards that Reverse, Miro, and Day trio in first place. I mean, it was just everything that happened in this game made the overall competition that much closer.
And I'm pretty sure Scented and Edgy went down around 15 players alive, so Commandment really popped off and had a very, very good performance here, picking up multiple eliminations and a second place. And we saw exactly what that did to the standings. But the star of the show for this game was Young Calc with this beautiful setup with a right-hand peak, picking up the victory royale with that one big pump shot.
Yep, and he gets just 2 points closer, and a 2-point kind of difference between him and Slacks and how things look there. An absolute solo competition at the end of this Game 5's NA East Trio game. It was Calc who landed that last shot. Expert predictions right there for the actual, almost looking like a pre-fire. But Game 5's theme and story was just all about the comeback. It was all about making the overall competition closer and really giving us a phenomenal Game 6 to watch.
Boys, what do the teams need to do? What is it that we need? What is that silver bullet that will get us the overall championship title, the crown, the axe of champions? What do these trios need to pull off?
Reese, take it, man.
I will. We'll break it down a little bit analytically. First, we have the TNA trio. They are 12 points ahead of the second place trio right now, which is of the Scented, Commandment, and Edgy. Basically, if they go down in early game, all our other trio needs to do, Scented, Comanche, Engine, is pick up 13 points, which they are very capable of doing. They're uncontested in Misty Meadows, so very, very possible. However, obviously, the TNA trio have not been going down this well. That game, we did see Bizzle, Clicks, and Illust push them for Storm Surge tags to fight them, to get the elimination points all the way up in their leaderboards. If that same thing happens again, that could be disastrous for TNA today.
And if we make it off spawn, if we get into the end game, this is kind of putting it in the most layman's terms that I can, right? A South Zone really going to, prefer and be on the side of Scented, Edgy, Commandment. If it goes north, Reverse might have a chance to be consistent again. So pay attention to where that zone is. Also, though, all the ties we have, pay attention to Slacks, Acorn, and Jack. They always switch up games. And whenever they do well, Reverse, Miro, and Day seem to have their lowest placement. So we'll see exactly how that works. There are some tricky trios. If Zayt, Saf, and Stretch have height, that's actually very good for Reverse, Miro, and Day because they can stay quiet on low, make it to endgame. So a lot of factors, Zeke. But I think the one thing to pay attention to is where that zone goes in game number 6.
All these story points converge on a single location. The final game here in NA East, game number 6. Who will walk away our new FNCS champions? Fortnite fam, it's time. We're going one last time off the battle bus. Aussie Antics, Monster D-Face. One last time. Let's do it.
3 weekends of qualifiers, 1 great set of heats, and now here we are at the grand finals stage, the last day and the last game. Everything is on the line, and we have a close competition up towards the top. It's Monster D-Face here in Aussie Antics to seal the deal right now, and the battle bus is underway.
Battle bus is underway, and I have my eyes on that top northwestern section. I see 3 people dropping at the castle, and I see 3 people dropping on the slope truck, so I know what this is. Knife's team has taken the castle. TNA has to back up. They still get away with it now. They don't have as much loot, but they're still in it. They're not getting aggressed on straight away. They're in it with a chance, but this is so much closer than we thought it was going to be, Monster. This is a game to remember.
This is it. Can Bugha's team pull home the 15 elimination victory royale to take home first place? We have so many teams now in the running for the first place spot. Slacks, Acorn, Jock, Bugha, Avery, Jamper, Commandment, Sensitive, and Edgy obviously being the closest. But of course, the one you want to keep your eye on, Oz, Day, Miro, Reverse UK, who had 186 points coming into this when they dropped out of the competition. What a game that we just had coming out of the previous one. Really setting the stage now for game number 6. Everyone's playing hip to hip. Everyone's trying to learn from their mistakes over these last few weekends. This is it. It's the last round. It's the game number 6. As Bugha now is going to be able to open up the vault here. What he's going to find inside the vault is, of course, going to grant them with the power shotguns and everything that it is going to be needed here. Bugha, Jamper, and Avery are also going to have this spot uncontested this time around, Ozzy.
This is big right now because they're still lurking as well. They're not as close as Commandment, Sense, and Edgy, but they're up there. They're in third on 158 points, so they really need a big performance here. And the last 2 games, someone's tried to play spoiler. Like you said, Mons, they've been caught off guard twice. They can't make it 3 times in a row. They have to close out strong.
100%. We can see here the atmosphere, the tension is up in the air. That last game, twice now, in the last couple of rounds, twice now, we've seen Bugha, Jamper, and Avery be hit with an ambush. They don't even see the team coming in. We don't even see the team coming in. And we have the full spectator client. I don't know how they're getting so close, but whatever that squad's been doing, it's been cheeky, it's been sneaky, and it's working.
Yeah, I think it's kind of that fool me once, fool me twice. You can't get fooled 3 times. Not for the World Cup solo champion. Such a decorated team. As you can see, Bugha's trio, 28 points behind first, has more than 30-plus point games than any other trio in NA East this FNCS. So they're showing you they can do it. They're behind in points, but if something happens to TNA like it did last time, they're the team to jump up and really run away with it. That was what I was expecting to see last game. They did it a little bit. They didn't quite do it. It was definitely Commandment that stepped up, but already, look at this. This is so different. We have TNA forced into the ocean because they have teams contesting them, and that's how this team adapts, right, Monster? That's why they've been so good.
100%. And you can see they're on the move right now, playing the outskirts here, just trying to stay alive and stay in the game right now. This loadout, not too hot, but they're also on a different strat already. They're trying to steer clear of Clix, Illis, and Bizzle. You already saw what happened in the last game. They have been taken out so quickly. This is the closest race going into the grand finals of any game, of any region that we've seen unfold this time around. Obviously, up later is the NAW, but for right now, as it stands, NA East has kept it so close. And I mean, this is a story that's taken from the Heat 2, right? Heat 2 is where we casted over these guys. It was that close there as well. They've literally transcended that story into the grand finals.
And we talked about it yesterday. We predicted it. Statistically, this is one of the most stacked, if not the most stacked grand finals of any FNCS in NA East. So not only is it stacked for the regions of this FNCS, going back in previous ones. Right now, every team in this is here to play. Next to no teams made it off consistency. They were all the teams that placed, and they're the best of the best. And they're showing up. You can already see Daymir and Reverse adapting their play style. This team has dropped at 3 different locations now in the 4 weeks of this FNCS and done well every single time. That is a skill unmatched by any other team, and it's a skill that who would have thought coming into the last game with it this tight, they would have needed Monster, because they need to adapt. Another team has rolled up in the last 2 games of a 12-game format, and it's changed everything.
This is a team that has been adapting, manipulating the drop qualifier to the Heats, now to the grand finals, all of which we haven't seen the same strategy employed more than once. This time, going from Dirty Docks to Fortilla to now, the outskirts of the map, they're figuring out. They are the most flexible on the drop spot, and now more than ever, they have to be flexible coming into this final round. Aussie, think about it. They've had the most adversary from every single drop spot being contested time and time again. They had a free pass up until now, and all of a sudden, so much friction.
You talk about adversity. Let's just talk about it. We mentioned it before. Reverse 2K made it very public that at the start of this season, he thought he was going to maybe take a break from competitive Fortnite. He's been playing for the longest time. This is a World Cup solo player, and he was thinking, hey, maybe this season isn't it for me. I'm not really feeling it. To come back and to potentially be in the position now to win Trio FNCS, this would be such an exciting story. This player has done a lot in his career. Reverse 2K is a very known player, but he has not won a major like this. He has not won an FNCS title, and he's potentially going to do it here today. This is massive, but unfortunately for them, they don't have the victory lap we were kind of expecting. They at one point had an almost 50-point lead. It is now down to 12. They're slipping back, and they have to hold on. They need this.
100% now. Edgy sent to Commandant, trying to make their rotates in. A little bit of a wall here. This player's in front. Players down by the gas station do have to be careful. And there's another setup just outside that Retail Row Mountain, the Lazy Lake North Mountain there. So their squad's already basing up, setting up everywhere. 3 teams already dropped out of the competition. 87 players remaining right now.
All of these teams are so close. This leaderboard is so ridiculously tight around the top 5. You have Zate's team on 140, Aspect's team on 140, Zexro's team on 140, Slack's on 146. So right now, to break into that top 3 is anyone's game. It's not just about first place. There is tens of thousands of dollars on the line here for these teams, and they need to make it work. As Zate gets a knock, potentially maybe an elimination, which could jump him up so far, and there it is, the finish. So that's 1 point. It's going to come down to single points here for sure, Monster, and tiebreakers.
Yeah, 100%. It's Zexro, Calculator, Macwood. This is a team right now tied up 140 points, 2 victory royales. We haven't seen them, but when they do pop up, they just pop up so big, right? They've had these huge point swings and then otherwise fizzled out, quiet round after round. Same with Zate, same with Saf, same with Stretch. If they had just an even mediocre, a much better day one, 96 points in today's competition. They have accrued so much here today.
They're really on the momentum swing, and this is where Zate's team plays best. They've just rewritten their story. Their story in all the qualifying weeks was always starting strong, finishing weak. But no, in this 12-game format, they're finishing strong, and they have the potential to really jump up, especially with that loadout in a zone that looks not too terrible. Actually, no, this has gone southeast. This is a pretty hard zone for this team, but what I'm looking at is our second-place team, Centered Edgy and Commandment. They've done so well every time we get a zone like this, and this zone actually looks so much like last game's Monster. So let's see what TNA can do with it, because we didn't get to see that last game. They went down on spawn.
Yeah, they went down early, and remember, the last time we tuned in with them, they were doing a northern side rotate. That's where Doom's Domain's team, Zate, Saf, and Stretch land, and they're already cutting the opposite direction. So seems like they made a bit of a bad gamble trying to make it into the next zone, chancing that it might just turn upwards, but instead it's pulling all the way through, which means that they are going to be cutting through a much more congested mass of players. And that's the difference sometimes. Those little interactions, going left instead of right this time around, is probably going to cost them a lot. And it sucks to think that, because you don't really know where the zone's going to take you.
And this is weeks of preps. Before the games even started, before qualifiers even started, NA East was practicing, they were scrimming, they were running customs. So they've had so many games to decide, okay, we went left that time, right would have been better. This is it. You don't get the second chance anymore. This might be your last chance right now to really make something massive and jump up, as Aspect's team needs to do just that, because they were in such a good spot coming into today, and they've dropped off the pace. This last game really needs to count for them.
Definitely now. Remember, last time we tuned in with Aspect, he was hitting these snipes to keep his team clear of the surge. This time around, though, still a lot to be had. It's now NPen choosing to go with the opposite rotate. Will Aspect be able to follow up with a nice sniper? He's trying to put some ramps up to save his teammate, save himself for the rotate push through. It's looking pretty good. NPen is in front right now, costing them over 200 wood material already. And there's another team behind this mountain. They're going to collide right here. But is it going to break out into a fight is the real question. Are they going to jump on top of NPen? They are getting closer and closer. Yes, they're sneaking up. This is an all-out battle on the side. You can see the landmass is weird. Zuni's could barely get up here, now trapped under his own ramp. This is not looking good. He's going to have to follow up some big shots.
who is this team? Because they are aggressive. They must need Storm Surge or some big points or something, because these are the fights you don't usually see breaking out. It's AJ, Rox, and Vix, and they're trying to get this positioning. I don't know if they wanted the Storm Surge or they just really wanted to hold this edge, because they went aggressive. As we see Macwood's team above this, XSET's team, a team that we had such high hopes for, were doing so well yesterday, came in today on second place, have dropped down so far. They had games yesterday where they got more points than they have in all of their 5 games before this. So they really need to show up now and fix something massive.
100% here. XSET on the rotate through, Peppers in hand, already down the majority bulk of the material. This is a great spot to get your refarm on, but there are 75 damage below, so they can't stick around for too long. Not unless they find some kind of activity. Not unless they get into, some kind of action, some kind of fight. And this is why AV's on his way up to the top. He's going straight up. No care in the world either.
He's going to try and shock an AV. Day goes down. Day goes down in the feed to Elige. That's our first place team. One of them has been knocked. This could be massive. We have AV trying to change things up right now, trying to get their elimination. We're in the feed. I have all eyes on that for our first place team. As can AV get back into this? Because this is a team that could really change it up. If people are pushing up, this is a team that will push you straight back down, because they win their fights as Miro takes down Elige. So maybe they're winning that battle, but it's looking a little bit sketchy. They're not on a good rotate right now, as Shark's not having a good fight. AV has to come back around the outside, and right now it looks like it's a 2v2 situation, and AV's not very healthy.
Definitely, as Knight did find one of those knocks as well. AV's going to find the full elim onto Fop, and now they have to back up, but no, lets the guard down. One wall is all he's going to take here, and it's Ronaldo on the other side of the wall. As he gets AV decides to stay inside, tries to leave the loot and the key card for his teammate upstairs on the top floor. Out comes Knight. How's he going to do it? No, Knight wasn't reloaded. His shotgun wasn't ready. A little too soon, and now XSET gets wiped out of the competition just like that.
Just like that, all the momentum comes crashing down. XSET, one of the most consistent teams, not since the start of these qualifiers, since the start of trios, since last season. That trio has been playing together and winning cups, and unfortunately on day 2 of the FNCS finals, something fell apart. And right now, you're tuning in with your first place team, where they need nothing to fall apart. They need everything to work right now, as they have one elimination on the board, and they came into this game with a 12-point lead, and second and third are still up and nipping at their heels.
Yeah, and you can see how much loot they've already gone through. That long drawn-out fight against the Hispanics has cost them a third of his total mat capacity. And you can see they've migrated way down to the southern zone too. So they were on the top portion, having to really double back, really backtrack across. And that's why they came across Elige on the way into this rotate here. Miro, though, one big pot in the inventory and just trying to set up right now. They need to find a new home. They need some loot ASAP.
How good is this team? Like, we're gonna have to geek out for a second here. It's not just their mid-game fighting, it's not just their end game. They've dropped different places, different rotations, different teamwork strategies. This team right now is undeniably the best team in NA East, and it's gonna take something massive for Centered and Edgy and Commandment to do something on top of them, because they have been good in every single aspect. Sorry, they have been fantastic in every aspect of their gameplay here today, and that's exactly what Commandment needs to do, as Edgy has one elimination, and that looks like 2, so they're closing that gap now. They have one elimination on the first place team. This is very possible for them.
This is your team that can overtake first right now. This is your team the closest to taking home the Axe of the Champions, right behind Day, Miro, and Reverse 2K. It's now, what's that? 9, 10, 11 point difference between the two. Each and every single elimination gets them one step closer. Let's not forget though, Miro does have one as well. So for every time the first place squad gets one, it gets that much further away from everyone else's hopes and dreams to be the best.
It's just so exciting. This is exactly what you want. Coming into a grand final of an FNCS, like we just said, the closest it's ever been. You're going to hear top tier excitement from me, and I'm sorry, I can't contain how excited I am coming into this endgame. This is everything you hope for as a Fortnite fan. Not just teams doing so well, teams that deserve it, who've been playing the best Fortnite, who are fan favorites, community favorites as well. Just really doing everything they can to bring this one home and seeing what they can do with it, because Daymir and Reverse are in a nice spot. The only issue is this next zone. 1 second, do they get it? They don't. They have to move. It's not too far, but there's so many teams on top of them.
100% of those teams we know. Ronaldo, Zum, Skittles nearby. Obviously, the XSET trio wiped completely out of the game. Other teams moving in from down south could be Scented, Edgy, Commandment. We know they migrate from those areas. It could be anywhere right now, possibly even center, honestly. They do like to do those early rotates, but either way, TNA has a long trek to make here. As you can see, replay's going to catch up. Player was nearby. It is going to break out into a fight. It's Illis, it's Clix, it's Bizzle, but Day's going to win that one. Illis, the fragger of the trio as well, is down. That is some serious firepower. Day holds on.
No one can stop this team. The confidence they have. They're in first place, trying to hold on to their FNCS. They're not holding on. They're pushing forward. They're still getting in boxes. Confidence of this team is honestly unrivaled right now. They have not lost a single mid-game fight in any of the 11 games before this, and it looks like, as you see, Clix and Bizzle have to flee. It's not going to happen in Game 12 either. I was just going to say how Miro and Day especially need this performance to prove they are team game mode players as well. Miro jumped into notoriety in solos and showing why. He's such a good fighter, but they've put all the pieces together. They have not lost once in the mid-game today. They've only gone down once on spawn. This team is doing everything right.
You got to give some love to Day there too, because that's the payback for the same team that took him out from game number 5. A little bit of karma there. He is going to be able to clap back once, and you know that's going to be a spirit raiser for them. Remember, this competition's only close because Clix, Illis, and Bizzle took them out in the previous round. So the story thickens. The plot extends here. Clix is still in their domain. He's still in their territory. It's another fight. They want more. Miro's trying to take this one.
I just can't believe they're not playing safe and resting, but I don't want them to because they've played all these fights so well. Statistically, it is a smart play to take these fights because they win them. Any other team, you'd be so scared. You'd be wondering, why are you doing this? You're in the lead. You're holding on. Why are you still taking fights? Because that's their recipe for success. That's what's put them in the lead. And right now, the focus is coming out. This is so tense. The edit and the big shot from Miro. He's got that purple pump. He ducks behind that cone, but he's been weakened a little bit. They've got to be careful. That's a full team beneath them, and it's also the team that played spoiler. Monster, you talk about the plot thickening. This is the team that pushed them out of the castle and into the jaws of Clix's team. Everything is coming to a head here.
100%. So will they get a little bit more revenge here onto the players that have been dominating all day? A player is down, though. Reverse is down as well. How's it going to turn out? Knifer gets exchanged here, and it's someone in the box. It could be Tabs. Yes, he finds Tabs. Miro claps back once again and fully concludes. And now, as a two-man team, the controllers, Day, Miro, the young gods have to rock it out with one another. There is no more reverse 2K to lead them, to tarp for them, to help them.
Miro has to do something. Day has to do something. Reverse is out of here. Day doesn't have shield, and they're hitting the rotate. They're moving fast. This is everything you could have wanted. This is so close. He has the spare shield, but that's all their shields, Monster. He has to stop, use the shield, and keep going. They need to make this rotate.
Miro doesn't even want to stand still. You can see he's just on the move, literally jumping in the water, getting ahead, saying, hey, Day, I'm going to play for the zone. Anything matters. Every point counts. I need to stay ahead. I have to stay in this round right now as they rotate into the second place team now. Oh no, Scented, Edgy, Commandment, they're on the other side of the barrel. They're the ones holding out the river, and now shots are exchanging. Who's the team up above? It looks like a solo. Could it be Miro? Because he just came in.
This could not be any more exciting right now. They are so close together. 2 eliminations on the board. He just needs to hold out in this box. They need to push forward and do something. They can't just rest. They have to jump forward up on the leaderboard. They are chasing, and Miro is trying to hold.
They do both have 2 eliminations as well, so it's a standstill. It's neck and neck, but Reverse 2K and company, remember, they found just a little bit more, so they are slightly ahead in terms of elims. Yes, look around you. It's Cosmic, Joji, Doe. Joji is by himself because he lost his 2 teammates. Miro and Day are off to the side, but they're on that same layer. It's eye to eye. It's neck and neck with Commandment, Sense, and Edgy. As a full trio, everyone has to rotate as well. They don't have the zone. Everyone has to go east now. It's going towards Retail Row. That's elevation change.
It's going back into it, and this is the best endgame we could have asked for. They're all up right now. 2 eliminations on the board. Do they have the mobility? But do they even need it? This beautiful rotate right now from center, just leading this team, and they're back front side. They're looking so good. They have everything they need to surge forward right now. No, the crash pads come out though. Was it a misclick, or is someone beneath them? Because someone's trying to drop them in. Someone is trying to upset their grand final run as they potentially push forward for first.
They're in the first place, though. They're in the lead right now, in front of the zone here, trying to get out and up ahead. It's still a battle, though. They're going inside. We already know. When they want an elimination, we've seen this before. They do not stop. This is so exciting. They're going to be pushing through until they find a frag right here, potentially. They want to stay in front of the zone. Here it is.
Oh.
Sentis found someone. It's the Sentis special. He's pushing through. It's grand finals, baby. Can they get this frag? They need the come up. They need the impact as things are going to catch up here. 2 eliminations. Can they make themselves one step closer? They do. Command gets it.
Takes down Zexro right now. They are pushing forward. This team has it right now. They're going up the outside. What can they do? A big shot again. They need to make this rotate. They're back together. It's crazy. This is what you want to see. TNA in the lead, pushing forward, taking fights. Second place, taking fights. No one is resting here. They get another knock. These eliminations close out the leaderboard so much quicker. They're on the bottom, and they play this low ground so well. Where is TNA? If they're looking at the feed, they're getting nervous right now. They are coming for the first place spot.
100% and placements being doled out now. They're definitely in this. Remember, the Victory Royale, though, is what they really want. A high placing spot to close things here now. Scented is still on the rotate, still looking through. Recognizes a weak build, trying to find a player. Yes, he's going to find some tags, some down bodies here. This could be perfect. Whoa, he's going to pull the body. He might be able to get some loot. This is going to bounce them back into the game.
This is, but Miro just got 2 eliminations in the feed, so Miro is clapping back as Edgy goes down.
No!
He goes down. Commandment Sensor and Edgy are out. They can't get any more points, and Miro is still in this. This could be their victory lap monster. 4 eliminations on Miro. This is why he has more eliminations than any other player this NA East FNCS, and they are bringing it home in the biggest way possible.
This is it right here, right now. Miro trying to get a big major event win on the grand final stage now. This is their victory lap. Everything else is icing on the cake here as they're going to be stomping through the layer. And yes, he's going to follow up. He's taking players down with them. Down they go. He's sinking with the ship. 22 HP. He's trying to jump through. He's still alive. Oh my gosh, with no HP. It doesn't matter. The knocks were worth it. And Day steps up. Day comes in with the save. He's still here.
Day's got 5 shockwaves, so he can play this out solo. He has the bandage cannon right now. 7 teams alive, 13 players. It doesn't matter. He's not going to play the bandage cannon. He's going to go toe-to-toe, and he gets the elimination. Day is still doing this. They're pushing ahead. They're not on a victory lap. He is sprinting. He's trying to get every single limb, every single point. They are making a statement on NA East. This is why this is your #1 team, and they're closing out the last game to really put the icing on the cake.
What an exciting way to close things out now as Day is literally clutching for his squad. He's about to go up. He's about to show people what is all made of right now. He's got a couple of options here. Impacts in hand. Bandage Bazooka as well. He's going to jump into the mix, though. Big 116. Can he get a follow-up here? Yes. There's going to be a player on the low ground, and he finally drops. Top 4 for him. What a way to close this out. It's a high ground hold from the Godfathers themselves, though. Zate is up above to hopefully bring this one home.
But they're in 7th place. This is a huge jump up for them. 123 points on the board. Stretch toe-to-toe, and he does. They win it. Zate, Saf, and Stretch get their 2nd win of the day. 129 points, but you have to think it was enough. Day, Miro in reverse, having a phenomenal game to finish off a phenomenal tournament.
And what a monstrous victory royale for the Zate, Saf, and Stretch trio as well. Here's your FNCS NA East winners. It's TNA's Day, it's TNA's Miro, and of course TNA Reverse 2K. 208 points. Not a single victory royale, 72 eliminations. Miro holds the record, and he can hold the record proudly now as they have secured themselves as the FNCS Grand Champions of the NA East. They've done it.
Not a single win, but some of the most consistent, some of the best Fortnite I have ever watched. Multiple drop spots, multiple rotations, teams dropping on them out of nowhere in the last minute, and they still adapt. They adapt to everything. They are by far your best trio in NA East.
What a cold way to take home a victory royale right there, too, for Zate, Saf, and Stretch. Ultimately, though, that's going to conclude from the desk. It's Grand Finals weekend. It's Monster Deep. It's Aussie Antics. Dude, what a great show. I couldn't have asked for a better person to cast this with. We're going to let the boys bring it home on the desk. I want to hear their reactions. Take it home, fellas.
Thank you guys so much. As
He's
already doing it. Listen, let me at least say Monster Deep based on what, bro. Listen, 100%. Today is the day for TNA Day, Miro and Reverse 2K, baby. What else can we say? Congratulations to you. I don't know why I
Nice
lost it.
save.
I got it. Your new FNCS Trios champions. It is the TNA Trio walking away with their heads held high. And of course, the new wielders of the Axe of Champions holding on all day long, coming in with such a strong performance, especially after day number 1. They are your overall winners.
And they flexed that last game as well. Reverse going down, I thought could have been their weakness, but it made Miro get absolutely overclocked, unlocked. He just hit the nastiest beams, and they lived too towards the very end, landing pumps and combinations we don't get to usually see every game. These guys definitely deserve that overall top spot. $66,000 to take home as well. 208 points to wrap out 2 days of glorious competition.
You know, while we were watching there, I was watching the elimination feed when we were going from Commandment, Scented, and Edgy's perspective, and when I saw that the duo of Day and Miro were still alive and moving in the end game, I knew it was over for them, because these guys are just too good and too consistent. There's just no way that they would go down early, and these two lived up to the expectations of how consistent they have been all the way through these 2 performances and through the heats and all the qualifiers before that.
Absolutely. That last win too lets they go all the way up to 4th with Saf and stretch overall 2 victory royales over the entire 2-day grand finals. Past that too on this page, Xset, Shark, AV, TSM, Zextro, Macwood, and Young Calculator are also up there in the top 10 from 11th to 15th place. More trios that we saw some glorious plays from this entire 2-day grand finals.
Yeah, you know, we saw that big victory royale coming out of FaZe, Mega, Dubs, and then also Liquid Reversan at the same time. You know, these guys were performing that game. They had a couple other good ones, but at the same time, it just wasn't that consistency overall. 11th, still a very solid placement, however.
Yep, also unknown Casper and Smack there in 16th place. Had some very consistent type gameplay, 90 points overall. Drop spots that were shaken up on day number 2 after some big chaos when the day actually
Sí, dale, cuadramos y para vernos cuando puedes.
I'm so glad it was close, so glad that there was such high-level gameplay to break down. The casters absolutely eliminated the entire broadcast as well. It was a lot of fun today, boys.
That was a good one.
Bien, muy bien, gracias a Dios. ¿Y
tú? Bien, bien, gracias a Dios, también descansando ya. Monté bicicleta por hasta la 26, una vuelta larguita. Un poquito con dolor de cabeza, pero bueno, es por el sol.
That none of us were correct. I think, you know, we have to give this at least to Reese being the closest of us all.
You know, I'm having a bit of a heart attack over these grand finals. I don't think my heart can handle it, because in EU, it was the exact same thing. I picked the team who came second, and the hype and the anticipation of that last game was building so much. This exactly the same. Commandment, Sent, and Edgy played a fantastic game all the way through today and yesterday's matches, really bringing and closing that gap throughout the day as it was going on, and it really was going down to that last game straight away. I was on the edge of my seat thinking we can completely, this is it, I've finally picked that team that's going to take the first slot in the grand finals, but they performed very, very well. Just the TNA, TRIO performed so much better.
Well, guys, it's been an incredible time here from the FNCS. Final thoughts from you two before we say goodbye?
Welcome to the new age, because these guys literally took the entire scene by storm from day 1 to day 2. I'm just going to say it was an amazing entire competition to watch from round 3 all the way up to the grand finals. That wildcard match was also a whole lot of fun in every single region. This FNCS was just an absolute blast.
And you know what? I just completely agree with what I was going to say. He pretty much stole exactly the words that I was going to use. The qualifiers were great. The heats were great. The wildcard match blew my mind a lot. It was very, very exciting. And these 2 days of grand finals have been very, very exciting, consistently building up until that last moment is so tense, and our victors are crowned.
That's right. And to you guys, thank you so much. To our casters, thank you so much. For you guys watching a Party Royale, we love you guys. And of course, if you're looking for more Fortnite action, the DreamHack Open featuring Fortnite is a duos competition. That's coming in November, so keep eyes on that. But from all of us here, we just want to thank you all for tuning in. Thank you to our participants, our players, and as always, Fortnite fam, we love you guys. Till next time, we'll see you on the Battle Bus.
Beep, beep.
Alright, there we go. Oh my god, who is this kid?
There has to be a collaboration between
the
merchandiser and the picker. And once you get those two teams together and everyone is on the same page, the possibilities are endless for a client like that. I mean, once you have it, it kind of opens the doors for a lot of other things. So this is a really cool, creative side of our industry.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm gonna be Iron Man.
The worst skin in the game.
Really? Yeah. For 10 years you lived in Scarnet. Wow. This is neat. Where'd you guys get this at?
You wanna see my email?
Indiana. I came down. Just a cool piece. If I had a bell here, yeah, rang the bell. Right. Is that something you sell? Yeah, I think so.
I have more skin than you do. A lot of people got that.
Do you have the Mecha Team Leader?
Let's take a look at it.
No, but I have something more rare than that.
Do you have the Mecha Team Leader?
No.
Why?
Because there's better skins than the Mecha Team Leader.
He's all about Rufy.
Made your imagination run wild as a kid the same way it does when you love it now as an adult. We're doing it? Yeah. I appreciate it. You know, it's a simple form of entertainment, but it's something that truly is timeless. So how long have you been out here?
Since 1990.
And where were you at before that?
Pleasant Grove in Dallas. We lived in JP's grandma's little
At least you don't have no sweat.
bungalow. We were collecting, of course, back then.
Emo.
We had trailers and everything that you see.
Bro, why would I need the no sweat emote? It's not even a good emote.
King City Code. Well, we've come home with a big trailer.
Everyone likes it.
Not everybody. Hold on, do you have V-Bucks?
Huh?
If you have V-Bucks, then you can gift it to me, right? If it's still in the
Yo,
shop.
99 tags. There's no event named Big Screen.
Wait, what?
There's
There
no
was.
event at the Big Screen. Why is he still here? No.
There was earlier. And he's
Then
just
how come
AFK right now.
999 tags is still here.
He's AFK.
Where did he go?
I don't know, he's hanging out with my friend Kane right now. Because we all know each other in real life, so.
Why are you going to the main stage?
What?
Why are you going at the main stage?
I'm really not. I'm just like.
Pick me up.
I don't wanna. Get out. Get out.
No.
I mean, I can just force you to get out because I can beat you off. That's what I thought.
Why has it be so toxic?
It was a joke. You thought I'd really boot someone?
Huh?
I can't really boot. I just said that so you'd get off.
What did you say?
I said I can't really boot. I only said that so you would get off. And I guess it
No,
worked.
I only played this owners can boot people off me.
Oh, wow, that looks sick. This looks absolutely sick. You sure you want to know? Yeah, sure?
I should.
Okay, hold on. Do you have the Midas's Revenge wrap?
Yeah, I have to message Ben's back.
Okay, then grab one of the plunger bows. And then look at... No, the plungers. Like, grab one of the, stupid...
I'm gonna put them on right now.
Yeah, put it on and, like, just look at what it looks like with the plunger bow. It looks sick. Look how sick this looks.
Sick. Hold on, maybe get good friends of my own.
It even looks pretty sick as a... Yeah, just go to the arcade. There should be a little something in there for you. Now look how sick it looks.
Oh, that's sick.
Hold on. I need to grab something. I am stuck. I'm like, I'm stuck. I wonder what it... Oh, that doesn't change. Oh. You wanna go play some squads?
Yeah.
Cause I'm pretty sure that the normal game modes didn't come back yet. What?
No, stay still, stay still. I like your cut, G. I like your cut, G. I like your cut, G.
Hold on, stay still.
Watch this, still. Oh, I know I can stand on top of it. Oh. I like your gun, G. I like your gun, G.
Oh my god, hold on. I just realized something. You can do your mission in Party Royale. You just glitched me out.
Your mouth, stop. Stop.